What's up, people? What's up, people? That just doesn't have the same ring to it.
We're the Harry Potter Alliance.
This past week, a Michigan representative was barred from speaking after using the word vagina in a speech about abortion legislation. This video is not about that. It is, however, inspired by it. The fact that the male representatives had a problem with Representative Lisa Brown using the anatomically correct term for the part of her body that the legislation would affect, the fact that they deemed this word too dirty and too inappropriate to be said on the House floor says a lot about how we view our bodies, and in particular, how we view women's bodies. Being unable to utter the proper name for something that half the population has, and that, as Maureen Johnson said on Twitter, was the door to everybody's first home, is kind of worrying. Why are we uncomfortable with it? Which leads me to think about inappropriate language at large. What makes a word inappropriate? Should we not say certain words? Should we not say certain words in certain places, around certain people? Should we censor certain words from young audiences? I'm not entirely sure of my stance on that kind of censorship, but I do know that the HPA is a family-friendly organization, and a lot of you are in high school or middle school and maybe watching this on a family computer, and I don't want to be the one shouting on your screens when your mom walks by. So I'm gonna bleep out any words that I'd feel weird about saying around your parents. But really, where is that line where words become inappropriate? I grew up in Texas, which is a fairly old-fashioned place with a very strong conservative Christian influence, so there were a lot of words that fell on the inappropriate side of the line. Taking the Lord's name in vain was definitely at the top of the list. Saying butt, crap, or suck always got me at, now that's not how young ladies speak. I had a lot of teachers and even directors and coaches who wouldn't allow us to say yeah because it was disrespectful. We had to say yes instead. My grandmother actually finds it disrespectful to refer to your parents with pronouns. Like if someone asked me, "Where's your mom?" I couldn't say, "She's in the living room." I'd have to say, "My mom is in the living room." My grandmother also believes that it's okay to say damn and hell because they're in the Bible, but no other cuss words are okay. Do I agree with all of those speech regulations? No. But do I do my best to stick to them when I'm around people for whom it matters to? Of course. I try to always be careful with my language. Even though sometimes I use language that I know could be offensive to someone, I try to make it clear to them that if it makes them uncomfortable, I'll stop saying it. And I'm not just talking about swearing. Like in the teaser, I always address you all as guys, mostly because I've tried really hard all my life to not say y'all. Is calling girls guys or dude wrong? I don't personally think so, but I have been told by women, particularly women who have been misgendered in the past, that they're really uncomfortable being called guys or dude. So I'd never call a woman who's uncomfortable with it dude, and I try to opt for different language in general. But that's one of those gray areas, like a lot of swearing is. It can be tough to tell if there's really a problem with it or not. But there are some words that have no gray area. I'm talking about the N word, the R word, the F word, the T word. Outside of being reclaimed by people in those communities, those words should never be used. But what about other words that target specific groups? Like using gay or dumb or lame out of context to mean something is stupid. I try not to, but I still say lame all the time, even though I know it doesn't mean what I'm using it for. When does a word stop being offensive because it's been appropriated to mean something else? Does it ever? I'm not sure that it does. So does that mean we have to understand the etymology of every word we use to make sure it was never used in a negative way against people? Because that's a lot of words, and I don't have access to my university's Oxford English Dictionary subscription anymore. So I think what we have to do instead is be as aware as we can about what words mean, how we're using them, why we're using them, or wanting to or not wanting to use them, and being cognizant of who we're using them around. If you're someone who genuinely loves the aesthetic of the word and think it's an affront to your verbose elocution to not be able to say every day, go for it. But if you're around someone who's uncomfortable with swearing or any other language you might be using, try to rein it in a bit. And if you're someone who's uncomfortable with certain language, practice kind ways of letting people know and be understanding if they slip up. Like just about everything, we have to compromise and be respectful and be aware to the best of our abilities. But at the same time, we should be questioning and thinking critically about why certain words make us uncomfortable. For example, why do I think it's okay to call girls dude, but I too have a problem saying vagina on screen even after cursing up a storm in this video? Is it just my southern sensibilities? I want to hear your opinion on all of this in the comments, and Julian, I'll see you on Monday.